Hello, my YouTube family. This is the OG Crypto New Jack coming at you with some juicy news. But before I begin, let me say I'm not a financial advisor. Anything you see or hear in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice. Remember to do your own research and consult with a qualified professional before making investment decisions. Okay, we are going to begin. The total crypto market cap is coming in at $1.11 trillion and is up 2%. Coming in at number one is Bitcoin at 26,506. Coming in at number two is Ethereum at 1,681. Now, beloved XRP is coming in number 5 at 52 cents. It looks like it's mostly a sea of green, with SUI as the top gainer, up 11%. Taking a look at the fear and greed indexes in fear, coming in at 41. And here we have Chad Steingraber. The dollar has been reduced by 80% between the Brics countries. It's already in motion, and there is no stopping it now. Digital local currencies are incoming. And here is Vladimir Putin with an interpreter.
I'd just like to point out also that the share of the countries concerned in which billions of people live has actually increased by 25%. And in terms of PPP, it is in a very high position. It has gone up from 30% to more than 40%. This is an irreversible development in our area, and measures have been put in place to make sure that more trade transactions are made in local currencies. And as a result of that, the share of dollars has actually, or dollar transactions has reduced very considerably, something like 80% between Brics countries.
Well, I'm going to stop it right there. So basically, President Putin of Russia, he is saying that the dollar transactions have reduced by 80%. And without any doubt, the Brics Bank is a real alternative to the current existing financial establishment. The Brics are definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with, for sure. And moving on that same topic, the digital perspective puts this thing out. We're crossing a threshold and we're never going back. And Megan also put out, listen, the 28.6 trillion, everyone want a slice of the pie. Let me play the video.
You know, it's good evening. Thank you very much. It's really unprecedented that the president would address the nation on a matter of a single foreign policy variant. Because the president announces the policy of the government and the state of the nation. That's where he lays out clearly what the government intends to do. Now that the president is addressing the state of the nation, it has created, he's addressing the nation, it has created a lot of hype and really speculation that may be flying around. But we want to hear what he wants to say, because from the media release that one has seen, he's going to be speaking about foreign policy and the BRICS summit. So we really don't know. And I'm saying it's unprecedented. But the expectation, of course, is that this BRICS summit should come up with concrete steps. One of the things that South Africa and the continent would expect is a clear access to the big market that is within the BRICS. That's why you see so many people interested to join the BRICS. The BRICS so far, it's a $28.6 trillion business. So everyone wants a slice of that pie. But there are other political issues. Remember, the summit is it's a meeting of heads of state, and it's a political meeting essentially. That's why you get political heads to make real decisions that actually, and I think this time around, the expectation is that this decision have serious implication in terms of changing how we relate to each other around the world. It's challenging the hegemony of the IMF and the World Bank, because the BRICS Bank, it's there. It's a force to be reckoned with. So there are a lot of changes that are likely to come out of this meeting that we all expect.
Yep, we got to take this serious. Digital perspectives, all eyes on Brics. And Gold Telegraph puts out China's top diplomat says that a rapprochement between Iran and Saudi Arabia brokered by China is creating a wave of reconciliation in the Middle East. This is true. I've been covering this for a while. Tomorrow is significant in the coming days. So yeah, this is the BRICS summit happening. Digital asset investor writes BRICS everywhere you look. China pushing for BRICS as a counter to the G7. Let me play the video.
Del, good to see you and welcome to We On Wild is One. There is speculation that China is pushing for a BRICS grouping to take, on the West or even G7. What do you make of that statement? And is there any truth to that?
So it's a great question, Eric. Good to be back on with you again. You know, there is some that are suggesting that Xi Jinping is not trying to outcompete America in the existing liberal international order that is dominated by the U.S., but that he wants to change it into a more Sino-centric one. Of course, I don't think anyone who's seeing this necessarily agrees. I think it absolutely is a competition, and I believe that you yourself pointing out that India has also raised concerns. The fact that BRICS, which was established founded in 2009, right, already with Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa alone, accounts for more than 40% of the global population. And Saudi Arabia applying, of course, you have Iran, Algeria, Egypt, Argentina, Indonesia, UAE, as you mentioned, all also applying for membership. that this is only set to expand. And I believe that the reason why this is actually, in fact, a way to compete with the US is because America currently, unfortunately, is in a position of rather weakness on a global scale, reputationally, image-wise, optics, and frankly, economically. So China has seen an opportunity here to lead the path along with Russia to come in and to take an approach through Brics that may actually swing the pendulum, so to speak, more in the direction of that region and their leadership, as opposed to a US-dominated, Western-dominated alliance.
Adele, let me ask you this. There
you go. Okay, moving on. Shout out to the bearable bull. The Brics is beginning of the end, the US dollar. I believe XRP could be a well-reserved currency one day. Likely you agree. Let me play the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, you need to know this, as the beginning of the rise of XRP as the world reserve currency is occurring, as the de-dollarization of the world and rise of the BRICS nations is happening in real time.
The problem with the US dollar right now is that because it's a global currency, when the US central bank, for example, changed its monetary policy to deal with US domestic economic problems, it has a spillover across the world. What do I mean by spillover? For example, it impacts, because most of our commodities that are produced by the developing world, the sales and are traded in the US dollar. So if there's a change in domestic monetary policy in the US, it impacts on, for example, commodity prices in the developing world, in Africa, and then it impacts negatively on the economies. So what the US should have done, and what the US still should do, is rather coordinate its monetary policy with the rest of the world, because it impacts so much, on other economies outside it, and that makes it unfair.
Okay, moving on. Shout out to Digital Perspectives and Jack the Ripper, right? The 15th BRICS Summit, Tuesday, August 22nd through Thursday, August 24th. And here we have a depiction of 5 BRICS nations who are all either directly or indirectly working with Ripple and XRP. So that's the only good thing we could take from this as XRP holders, that they're going to be using the XRP ledger for their country CBDCs, either, like I said, directly or indirectly through their partners that they have. That's the only really good thing we can see from that. And shout out to Seth. They put out big news in the world of Bitcoin. The EU just voted to let banks hold 2% of their capital in BTC. This will come into power in January 2025. It's official. Crypto is going mainstream, and the financial revolution is unstoppable. Get ready for a wild ride to the moon, because this is just the beginning. And while all that's taking place, you got the BRICS forming alliances and probably going to add to the 5 member nations. The UE having Bitcoin being allowed to be held by the banks. And this is the situation here in the States. Shout out to John Dean. Before reading the stats, please consider the significance of what the number 1 trillion equals. 1 trillion seconds equals 31,709.8 years, $1 million per day, every day from the date Jesus Christ was crucified until today does not equal 1 trillion. When I read these stats, current debt level, this is from the COINBASE letter. Household debt is 17.1 trillion. Mortgage debt is 12.0 trillion. Auto loans, 1.6 trillion. Credit card debt, 1 trillion. And all these are balances that are at a record high. And the current interest rates, credit card debt, 25%. New car loans is 14%. And another one from the COINBASE letter, the monthly mortgage payment based on median existing home is now at a record $2,322 per month. This is double the 1,200 peak seen in 2008. Keep in mind that $2,322 per month does not include taxes, insurance, or any other costs associated with buying a home. If you add in taxes, insurance, the median is nearly $3,000. That's $36,000 a year, 50% of the median household pre-tax income. On a post-tax basis, the median new home buyer is spending close to 70% of their income on monthly payments. So we, as a country in the U.S. here, are not doing good at all. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Bill Morgan and James K. Filan. James K. Filan put out that XRP counsel for Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Lawson have informed the judge the dates they will not be available for trial in the second quarter, and I believe that's the first half of the month. So Bill Morgan writes the first 2 weeks of April 2020 is when they flip the switch. Well, hopefully that's the case. Eleanor Torres, shout out to her. The SEC has provided Judge Torres with the dates that they are available and available for trial in the second quarter of 2024. And here we have the dates they put in. Again, shout out to John Dean. Even if you hate Ripple and believe XRP is a shitcoin, if you believe in a free market with a fair, level playing field, overseen by a fair and honest regulator, I don't see how you couldn't be disgusted by the SEC's conduct. You can't stand by or cheer government misconduct just because it's against someone or some company you dislike. Government intrusion and overreach is a very slippery slope. If you cheer it on today, you might find yourself on the other side of it tomorrow. And that is very, very true. And that was a comment he had on his own tweet. Said you can never underestimate the damage the SEC's lawsuit has caused, not only against Ripple, but XRP. 3 years of adoption, that's what it's caused. And here you have a depiction of Coinbase when they pre-lawsuit, when they were offering XRP, and they actually promoted XRP with XTC. And we kind of missed out on that. Okay, moving on. Shout out to Ashley Prosper. It appears that there are only two ways to get clarity for crypto in the US. Endure a lawsuit lasting 2 to 5 years to the tune of 200 million or more. Or number two, get the CCP to invest in your project and use bribes to get a pass. Because that's exactly what happened with the ETH3 path. This is a pretty good threat from Mr. Hubert. The biggest corruption and financial scandal of the 21st century is waiting for journalists who will like a Pulitzer Prize. You don't even have to do any more research. The XRP community has already done it. Here I have laid out a timeline for you with a focus on JP Morgan's connection to this scandal. You only have to follow the links and you can check everything yourself, exclusively Googleable facts. And he goes on, puts a long thread starting February of 2017 and lays everything out up until June of 2023. And he ends over here saying, Ripple General Counsel calls for an investigation into Hinman's criminal financial conflicts. To this day, the SEC General Counsel ignores it all. Is it because this is now the SEC's fourth General Counsel in just under 3 years? In the end, everything boils down to a single question. Why has Ethereum received unprecedented regulatory privileges from the SEC? And we all kind of have a suspicion as to why that is. Okay, shout out to ISO 222. Let's do it. XRPL connections to SEPA plus SWIFT. Says here, XRPL Labs and GateHub join forces, adding on and off ramps for 14 assets using the Sum wallet. That's very nice to see. Okay, John Dean writes this, watch Gail Long lay down the facts. Ask yourself, why the hell did SBF, aka SB Fraud, get 1 hour meeting with Chair Powell and get to avoid the rules? Let me play the video real quick.
Alameda, the affiliate of FTX, acquired 80% of the equity of Farmington State Bank. And they being FTX, should have applied for approval from the Fed to make that acquisition, and they did not. Now, what is interesting, Jay Powell met with Sam Bankman-Fried for 1 hour, just weeks before that March 2022 acquisition. I have no idea what they talked about, but like Larry Fink gets 15 minutes with him, but Sam Bankman-Fried gets an hour. The Biden White House is crystal clear, right? The whole all-of-government approach to crack down on the crypto industry in the United States. We have two players that are really the proverbial good guys, I would say, Coinbase with the SEC and Custodia with the Fed, who did everything right, literally begged to become regulated. It's almost like the strategy of the government has been to particularly harshly treat those who did try to come in and work with them and did try to help them.
Kind of disgusting, if you ask me. That's how our government agencies are behaving. Okay, moving on, shout out to Riz XRP. There are rumors with Venmo rumors, Robinhood rumors that they're going to be listing XRP on their platforms. Can any of you confirm any of these rumors? Well, up until now, there hasn't been anything verified with either Venmo or Robinhood as far as the company is making an official statement that they are going to relist XRP. So far, as of right now, Venmo and Robinhood relisting XRP is just a rumor. Okay, moving on. We have Jeremy Allaire, the CEO of Circle. He writes, 5 years ago, we embarked on launching a new protocol for dollars on the internet, USDC. It came together with Coinbase to deliver on the vision of open, transparent, and trusted dollar stablecoins. What started as a simple vision has grown enormously. And he goes on to make a couple of other statements, but basically, Circle and Coinbase made a partnership. And this is Paul Garrod, Coinbase's chief legal officer. He writes, we couldn't be more excited about this next phase for the USDC. And Coinbase's statement is, today, Coinbase and Circle announced a few updates to the USDC. Stablecoins will be a key component of a new updated financial system, and we look forward to helping unlock additional utilities and growing the USDC ecosystem. So Coinbase and Circle have came together, and I believe Coinbase has bought several shares of a company stock. Okay, moving on to digital asset investor rights. More cheating, imagine that. This is referring to the Bitcoin news. Just in, former JP Morgan gold traders Michael Nowak and Greg Smith sentenced to prison for prolific spoofing. So, and on that same note, Eleanor Tourette, she writes, former OpenSea manager Nate Chastain has been sentenced to 3 months in prison and a $50,000 fine for charges related to NFT insider trading. Says breaking from the Inner City Press, a 3-month prison sentence just imposed in OpenSea NFT insider trading case. Judge, Mr. Chastain, I sentence you to 3 months in prison and a $50,000 fine. So, no good. Here we go. Shout out to Riz XRP. Why was Jed McCaleb left alone by the SEC? I believe he meant to say alone. Let me play the video.
Why Jed McCaleb was left off. And I have nothing against Jed McCaleb. I personally think that Jed McCaleb would be on the Mount Rushmore of crypto, right? You'd have Satoshi and you'd have Vitalik and you'd have Jed McCaleb. Why? Well, Jed McCaleb is responsible. He's a Bitcoin developer. He was involved with Mt. Gox. He started the XRP Ledger and XRP, and then he went on with XLM. So I'm not saying anything bad against the guy, but here's a fact. I stick to facts. And facts are that during the lawsuit, from the day the lawsuit was filed against Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and Chris Larson, until the lawsuit ended, the SEC was seeking $1.3 billion from Ripple, Brad, and Chris. Yet during that period of time, Jed McCaleb sold $2.6 billion, twice what the SEC was seeking against Ripple and its executives of XRP. He sold that during the pendency of the lawsuit. And I bring that up only because it proves that the SEC is full of shit. If XRP was a security and all sales were securities, then why are they letting the co-founder sell twice as much as the company damages are seeking against the company for the same type of sales? And so it just shows you the flaw. Now, there's theories that Jed may have cooperated. How did the SEC get the 2 lawyer agreements, the 2 lawyer letters in 2012? You know, who knows? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. All I can tell you is that I think Jed McCaleb is the true Don, Teflon Don of crypto, because he was associated with Mt. Gox and he walked away. He was associated clearly with XRP and the XRP Ledger, and he escaped. And XLM is a mirror copy of XRP, and they've always been, able to continue to do business and never be brought into any of these suits. And so your guess is as good as mine. Okay.
Okay, moving on. Again, with Riz XRP, the SEC are liars. So much for protecting the public.
It's the offer and the sale of the assets that's the issue. But what it does do is it took the wind, the political wind out of the sails, if you will, or the political sales of the SEC, because they kept saying the tokens are securities. Gary Gensler kept saying most of these except Bitcoin are securities, and you can't say that. You can't say that anymore. And so now we have the SEC conceding in paperwork and in pleadings that the token itself is not a security. They lie and claim they never said that, which is bullshit. If they had never said that, I wouldn't be on crypto law right now because I never got involved and I wouldn't have had to have 75,000 of my friends join me. And so you out there helped make sure that we took that wind out of their sails. Okay, next question.
Exactly. As you see, there are a bunch of hypocrites and a bunch of liars, and they do not have a faithful allegiance to the law, as Judge Sarah Nebern stated. Okay, fans, so that's going to do it for today's video. If you found this video to be helpful, would you please smash a like and subscribe? I really appreciate it, and it doesn't cost you anything. Thank you much in advance, and the words of Snoop Dogg, keep your mind on your money and your money on your mind. Peace out, man.